Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode 223 of the Audible Farm Podcast, and this episode is brought to you by the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Go to fdfineartsassociation.org, check out their website, find that community calendar, and find something to do in the Fort Dodge area this week or this weekend. There's plenty of shows, there's plenty of things happening, lots of companies coming together to support art, music, and everything, and Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association is at the forefront, helping everybody get coordinated and just helping get the word out there about all these awesome shows. I know this podcast has benefited greatly from Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association in the past, and in the future it probably will do the same because Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association is amazing. So check out that website, and thank you very much to Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association for sponsoring this episode. This week I'm sitting down with Taylor Smith. Taylor is such a fun guy. He kind of came onto the scene again, started playing a lot of live shows in the last maybe year or two, basically since the podcast ended. And he's been playing solo shows. He goes to jams. He plays violin. He plays violin with other people. Sometimes he'll get up there and sing a few songs when he's playing violin. It's wild. He's so talented. He's so fun to hang out with. I think we, just going out and playing shows with him, it's been a blast. It's fun to expand my horizons and play with somebody that's not the traditional, bass, guitar, drums, acoustic singer, songwriter, formula that seems to happen a lot. So adding that layer in with Jesse Wilson and with Clint Riedel has been very fun, and it's also given me an opportunity to play with somebody new. So I always enjoy that, and I gotta say thanks, for that, Jesse and Clint for bringing this guy in, and thanks to Taylor for going to jam nights. You're gonna love this episode. We sit down and talk about how he got interested in music and how he kind of changed over the years, playing the violin first and then the acoustic second, and what kind of music he liked listening to and how it all happened. It's a great story. It's a fun story. This is really good for all the people that have met Taylor and know him and love him. This is a good way to kind of get to know him a little bit better. So I gotta say thanks to Taylor for joining us on this episode. I know you're gonna love it. Cue the music.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
I'm sitting down today with Taylor Smith. Taylor plays the fiddle with a lot of different people, honestly. Definitely two people on the regular for sure.
That's what it's been, yeah.
Yeah.
Playing with Jesse and Clint.
Yeah, that's kind of what, what I do, honestly. It's pretty fun. It's nice seeing you go out and play with Clint because I feel like a fiddle adds, I don't want to say more than a guitar would add to his type of music, but yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of fun to hear you guys go at it. I got to play a show with both of you guys recently, which I think is the first time the three of us had played a show together.
The three of us?
Yeah, you, me, and Clint.
I thought we've done that before.
Had we?
Maybe with Brad added in.
Oh, yeah, I could see that for sure.
But as a trio, maybe you're right.
And that's where it's funny. All the bands just are kind of blend. They just a little blend of each other, and it's like the singer-songwriter is the thing that really changes what everything else happens in the music.
Yeah, they're two very unique artists in every sense of the word, and I've enjoyed playing with them from the get. It's been a lot of fun playing with you, meeting Brad. Mm-hmm. A lot of talented musicians.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Which was kind of surprising to me when I moved back. I didn't know that Fort Dodge had such a strong scene.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I have 4 years chronicling it, minus the 2 recent years. But yeah, so there's 4 years of me just being look at all these people doing all this stuff. I feel like it added a lot to it because people knew that there was going to be, somebody out there talking about what they were doing, and in the absence of Audible Farm, new people show up, and it's just this is cool.
How long was your hiatus?
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was, I didn't measure it, but it's 20 months, maybe 22.
Yeah. I'd seen the stickers, I'd seen your shirt and stuff, and I was kind of confused. I didn't know if you were really in farming or.
Yeah. Dumb name, great podcast.
No. I mean, I live on a farm, but I don't really. know that much about it, so I don't know if I could talk about that at length, but I found out that it's a music podcast, so
Yeah.
that's all the better.
Yeah, I literally have people tell me like all the time, like I don't listen to farming stuff, or like I'm not a farmer, and it's like no, you don't understand. Like the pig has a guitar, like in the logo. Don't you see that?
Right.
Like, so it's music, right?
Not a pitchfork.
No, it's not a pitchfork. Doesn't it make sense, everybody? No, it's again dumb name, whatever. I'm sticking.
No, I like the name.
I'm sticking with it. It's been something that a lot of people have been like, what is the deal with that? But so
You're stuck with it at this point.
yeah. This I can't change it now. We already rebooted. Like I'm wearing the hoodie, the old hoodies, which I might still have some of. But yeah. So let's get to like before. I want to talk about like how you got here, found the music scene, and started doing all this stuff. But I also want to talk about before that. So like let's go way back in the day. I'm assuming you're a younger lad. Hopefully you were shorter.
Yeah, I stopped growing at 15. So
Really? You were that tall that long? I guess
Yeah.
I don't even know how old you are, but still,
I'm
like
33. So
really? Oh God, he looks so young.
18 years, I guess, of being 6'5". I'm used to it.
That's wild. You're not like Jai Hugic, but you're very tall. Like
Enough that people will comment
Oh.
comment on it in the grocery store or in a podcast format.
okay, guilty. Check. Very guilty. So like, how did you get interested in playing music? I'm just gonna like start off with the fiddle. Is that the first thing you like, or the violin?
Yeah, the violin. I actually wasn't comfortable calling it the fiddle until maybe I was 22, 23. I don't know, for whatever reason, but I mean, maybe because I didn't consider my style of play to be fiddling.
Yeah.
Because you can fiddle on a violin, it's they're one and the same. But I started playing. I come from a musical family. My late mother was very involved in music. She was the pianist and she's a vocalist at church. So we would be there. Like I said, very religious family. We'd be there 3 times a week: Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, and she would always be playing music. And I would watch her. She'd always be looking over at me, making sure I'm singing. And when I came of age, 5 or 6, she wanted to start teaching me piano. So she already had piano students, and I kind of, saw them come and go. And I kind of thought maybe I want my own thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where I ever saw a violinist in the first place, maybe on PBS or something. I said one day when I was in the middle of a piano lesson, I want to learn violin. And we're in the middle of nowhere. As you can see, you drove here today.
Yes.
We're here in Eagle Grove, and not a lot of violin teachers around. No orchestra offered at the local school.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy when there was like people, I'm from Humboldt, when people in town would be like, where did you learn how to play something with strings on it? They don't teach that in school,
Right.
Unless you go to a bigger school.
Yeah. And to boot, I was actually homeschooled till 8th grade, so I wasn't even going to the public school to be offered that kind of thing. So a couple weeks passed, still, sick of my mom teaching me the piano because it's my mom, nobody wants to learn from their mom.
Yeah.
At least I didn't. And I think there was like a newspaper ad for violin, viola, and cello lessons being offered in Clarion, which is 15 minutes away from here. So I think they were like $5-10, very on the low. But this new cellist had moved to Clarion from, I think, North Carolina. He was kind of just like this bohemian, gave off Deadhead vibes.
Okay, all right.
A little bit, but he was really good at the cello.
Mm-hmm.
Very accomplished cellist, and could not play the violin, but he could teach it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So he taught me that for a couple years. So I learned to read sheet music and stuff at that age, but I wasn't really feeling inspired by the sheet music and the rules of it. Everything, the song always has to be played the same way.
Yeah, this way, no changes ever.
And because of the rigid rules of my parents, there weren't a lot of alternatives music-wise for me to, I wasn't allowed to listen to pretty much anything like with an upstrum on a guitar or a drum beat. Even Christian rock was out of the question.
Yeah.
So that left like classical, it left hymns, sacred music, and it left bluegrass.
Oh.
Oddly enough, even though that has some very aggressive guitar playing.
Which is what, like, dudes playing bluegrass. I don't care what instrument it is. It's like everybody's shredding the whole time.
But that wasn't something we would listen to, you know, around the fire or something. That was what my dad I would catch him listening to bluegrass in his office or something like that. So my mom she would practice a lot of piano, and I would just start playing with her and learning to play with other people and learning how to, I can't really describe it, but just the ability to play by ear was something that I was gifted with. And after a couple of years, I stopped taking lessons because it just kind of became boring for me, but I didn't stop playing violin. And in 8th grade, moving on here, I went to public school, and that took a lot of convincing from me to my parents, but I was exposed to a lot of new music that the kids are listening to.
Oh, yeah.
And
8th grade. Oh, man, that's right in the prime of it, too.
So this would probably be 2004, 2005, I guess. And I wasn't listening to Britney Spears or, you know, anything like that, but when I would work on the farm, mow the lawn or drive tractor or combine for my dad, I would always either have a headset radio or just tune in on the tractor, and I would listen to 94.9, like the Eagle, I think it was, Mix 94.5, Fort Dodge, 103.7. The classic rock stations were the ones that kind of appealed to me.
Yep.
And I was exposed to like Floyd, Steely Dan, everything from Neil Young.
Steely Dan.
Or they're just playing a wide variety of classic rock that you could still hear today on the same stations. And that was just this whole window to the world to me. This stuff that sounded so out there and compared to classical, this is what little kids want to hear. I thought, I don't know. It was just attractive to me, maybe because I wasn't supposed to be listening to it.
Yeah. So even then you're like really kind of not really supposed to be listening to it.
No, I mean, my parents never changed in that regard. So
even though they let you go to a public school and you're kind of like sneaking music in.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
They weren't that involved in the Eagle Grove community. They kind of kept to themselves, very involved in the church family that was in Holmes, which is between Goldfield and Clarion. Mm-hmm. So those are the people they socialized with, and I could kind of get away with more in Eagle Grove because they didn't know anybody there. Okay, yeah. And it's not like listening to rock music is going to get you sent to the office, maybe true. Unless you're doing it at a loud decibel in the middle of class.
Yeah, something like that. Dude, this is crazy because like I first started playing music like basically in and because of church. I started playing guitar. There was like somebody there that played guitar. I'm like, this is cool. I want to try this, and then when I finally like learned how to play guitar, I was like, I don't really know if like what I'm playing is appealing to me. It's kind of like I played trumpet in school, but it was also like I never got to choose anything, and like rarely was it fun unless we played like pep band music, which like you're playing like Tequila and Frankenstein and like all these like weird songs, but like
I think what inspires a young musician or somebody that wants to learn an instrument is learning a song that inspires them, and it's not for me. I mean I still know all those hymns, and they're incredible pieces of music, they're powerful, and but that just wasn't, it just felt, I don't know, too repetitive by the fourth stanza. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man. I get that too though. Like I grew up in a place like I went to church, and I grew up in Humboldt. I went to church, and at the church I went to, we like sang a lot, like a lot. You know, it's just like, let's sing 8 or 9 songs during a sermon kind of deal. And it's just, everything's interrupted by it. And it's basically anytime there was a break in any sort of capacity, it's like, all right, let's do this. And you know, it's cool. There was actually a handful of songs where it's like I hear them and I'm like, oh, I remember this song. I vividly remember listening to this song a lot, you know, or singing it or whatever. Or then I started playing music, and you'd play like, I don't know how to describe them, but like the more modern hymns that people would sing.
Contemporary Christian music.
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. It's like, oh, everybody knows this song, maybe.
Casting Crowns or stuff like that.
Yeah. Or they'd like dumb down like one of those types of songs for like everybody to sing. You know, but that kind of music was fun to play too, though.
It has its place. But I think all music has its place.
I think I agree with it's a lot of 1-4-5 just forever and everything,
Right.
which is like the formula for most Christian music, old hymns, because that's how music was basically stanza'd back then, you know, when they wrote a lot of them. But yeah, it makes me wonder, like, was there any songs, so you think like you got to be inspired by a song to try to learn it and something like that, and that kind of is like your fuel. Was there like any songs where you like listened to them and then like went home and like busted out the violin and you're just like, you're trying to play like Rollin' by Limp Bizkit or something, like, or what? I'm just
at that time I never thought about the violin in that kind of scenario. I guess I hadn't seen, you know, a rock violinist.
Oh, yeah.
So I turned to guitar at that point. I was 13, 14, and, you know, everybody has a guitar over at their house. So I would pick up people's guitars and, you know, just start learning a chord here, a chord there, or getting used to it in my hands.
So you learn the guitar basically because you like want to...
Because I want to learn songs, and I saw a lot of people doing that. The bands that I liked had a singer and a guitarist in it. You know, I started to get into Nirvana or Stone Temple Pilots. I see those kind of bands, and that just was the next thing that I wanted to do. You know, I loved music and instruments, and I was on the hunt for a guitar. I bought one from a classmate for, I don't know, $35, $40, and I would play when my parents were gone or out of the house.
So the guitar was even too like crazy for him, or like...
Well, the songs I was playing on it.
Okay, I can see it. So you're again sneaking music. You know, they're not angry about you learning a new instrument,
And that...
they're probably like happy you picking something else up and learning new stuff.
Yeah, I said, "Oh, Mom, I'm just gonna, you know, play this in church eventually." You know.
Yeah.
And that's... I could still play all those hymns, you know, and learn that. And when my parents weren't listening, you know, try to play an Aerosmith song.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That'd be awesome. Growing up, just like, I'm going to learn an Aerosmith song. I didn't try to learn an Aerosmith song until later. And I'm like, this is simple but hard somehow. Like,
well, I think I started with I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, or one of the ballads, you know, like,
yep.
What It Takes. I forget what it was. One of those ballady ones from their late 80s, 90s.
Dude, their first 2 albums, 3, like, I'm not somebody that's just like Aerosmith, yeah, but like their first like 2 or 3 albums were just
Toys in the Attic.
Yes, good. So good. I remember somebody just being like, you should just listen to like the first one and then the second one, and I bet it'll make you listen to the third one, which is still good enough to listen to. And I'm like, all right, like there's a lot of bands like that though, that like their first couple were just bangers. But so you're sneaking in music. Okay, so you're sneaking in music here, and we're gonna shift back over to you. Sorry, I like to get.
No, it's all good.
I like to sidetrack a little bit.
Sidebars are good.
But yeah, it's also fun. Like, so you're thinking Stone Temple Pilots, like that alternative '90s kind of stuff was more your go-to, or...
I started getting into that. I've had different time periods throughout my life. And it's all a credit to... There's a lot of stuff in music and movies, pop culture stuff that I missed in my, you know, up until 8th grade. But after that, it was just kind of discovery and meeting people that say, hey, this sounds good. And, you know, that's how I would get into, you know, later on in high school, screamo. Emo, hardcore, you know, Under Oath, Bless the Fall, Seosin, those kind of bands, The Word Alive. that I still, listening back to some of the stuff in that genre, like the maybe Attack or the Crabcore guys. I don't know if you've seen those guys.
Yep. I know
It's a little cringe, but like I said, I think it's all got its place. And I mean, if I'm on a run or something sometime, I'll pop one of those songs on if it comes up and shuffle and listen through.
Yeah.
It's still good.
Dude, like I threw on like a Hawthorne Heights album the other day and was just like, yeah. And I wasn't even like the hugest Hawthorne Heights fan, but I remember buying this album. I'm going to listen to it. And I like went and spun it on Spotify. I'm like, this is good. Like,
Saying Sorry.
Yeah. That was the song that was like, I'm going to listen to that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That album. I already forgot what it was called, but yeah, I listened to that. I might have listened to it like 3 times or 4 times in a row because I was just like, this is way better than I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it holds up. There's a lot of this.
But again, sometimes you're just like, man, I was just listening to music that was just like, like the whole time. It's just
right.
Like, wah. Like every song is just like crying. Like I'm sad about something. And it's like, what was I so sad about that I was like listening to this music, Like
who broke your heart?
Yeah. Well, I broke my own
Let's get into
heart.
that.
These are supposed to be hour-long episodes. We don't have enough time. No, man. But yeah, I agree. Like I listened to some kind of, I don't know. I listened to emo and stuff for sure, but I was like a pop punk, like the era just before emo was pop punk. You're talking Blink-182s and your Green Days and stuff and whatever. So
that is a nice segue because Yellow Card, another pop punk band, has an electric violinist in it.
Yes.
And that's the first time I actually saw a violinist that could rock.
Yeah.
And I had set the violinist. I hadn't been playing it as much. I've been playing more guitar, trying to learn that. Even picked up mandolin, trying to learn that.
Oh, cool.
And then I see this electric violinist playing a Yellow Card, and I said, I want an electric violin, and I want to play like that guy.
I want to do what this guy's doing.
It just kind of opened the possibilities to me, and the violin is a versatile instrument. I think that it can be in any genre. It can be in EDM. You look at like Emancipator, or it can be in a jam band, Dave Matthews Band, or Dirt Wire, or you can be a frontman as a violinist, like Andrew Bird or Kishibashi. These are like loop artists that will just lay down these incredible layered tracks and then sing over it, or play and sing at the same time, which is, getting away from me.
It's all good.
Do it and fix it in post.
I got it. But yeah, it makes me think like the violin is weird because it's like, what are all those things? I can't remember what they're called, but it's like not Foley sounds, but it's like those sounds where it's just like, these are the sounds we can make in movies where it's just like cartoon stuff. It was just like somebody's walking up the stairs and you're like, like doing stuff on the violin to make all the noises.
I don't know the terminology for that, but
there's also like horror movies. It seems to be weirdly big in horror movies or drama. Like you listen to like drama shows and you're like, there's like violins or like, the equivalent.
It can be a creepy instrument for sure, or a instrument that can bring you to tears, or
I never really thought about how versatile it was until like you literally just said that. I'm like, man, you're right. It can do a lot.
And I don't listen to a lot of. So it's an unforgiving instrument, and when your ear is right next to it and you're playing a sour note, it can just be like nails on a chalkboard almost.
Oh yeah.
So
you're the first one to know.
That's why I prefer playing electric, because I don't have that sound hole right next, or F hole, I guess that's called in a violin, right next to me, aggravating me the whole time. I can, with my amp, I can put some reverb on, get it real nice and wet, and I have a pedal board that I haven't used with either Jesse or Clint because I don't think it's really appropriate, but I can get some guitar-like tones out of it, and I can solo so much better on that instrument than I can guitar. So it helps me accomplish a lot.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like another, like there's a lot more violins in like, modern-ish music that have like hit somewhere in the mainstream area than I'm trying to think of other ones where it's just like, this is prominent. The only one that really comes to the top.
You mean actual artists?
Yeah, artists where it's like...
You see Lindsay Sterling, obviously. I think she got big on YouTube.
Okay.
But she's very, she moves around a lot, and she has incredible music videos. She'll do covers, and I think she does original music too. I'm not a huge fan of hers, but I like Lily May. She was Jack White's guitarist, and she's touring with Post Malone now.
Okay.
But she's, I guess, an inspiration or whatever.
She's an inspiration
for that instrument, you know.
Yeah,
she is an inspiration. Yeah, I've seen her. She plays guitar, mandolin too. I'm a big fan of multi-instrumentalists, people that can, you know, you wouldn't expect them. Like Rick Danko from the band. He was their bassist, but he could also play fiddle, and every member of the band could play multiple instruments. And they had a drummer that sang. So,
yeah, that's also pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like the more just using your instrument in unorthodox ways or ways you wouldn't expect. Probably came from all the rules in my upbringing. I don't know.
Yeah.
What this is, but
yeah, it's really interesting because I remember, if you ever heard of Steve Vai, I don't know, maybe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guitarist.
So he's like, whatever, like one of the greatest or whatever, you know, he's just crazy guitarist guy. You know, he's so good. He makes wild music. He plays with orchestras. He plays with bands that he makes. He changes the band every year, whatever. But I saw him one year with a violinist as the other soloist in the band.
Okay.
You know, like he's got an electric guitarist with him that does electric guitar stuff, but like the other guitar that would fill in guitar stuff was this lady playing violin.
Was she running pedals and
yeah, but she was like in a cocktail dress and heels out there just like running around playing an electric violin.
That's not me.
It was wild.
That's never
I've never seen you in heels, man. I wouldn't want to. You're too tall already. I'm the one.
I meant the running around part.
Yeah.
I like to stay in one place and kind of sit like a bump on the log when I'm playing.
Yeah.
Just get in the zone.
It depends on what's going on. Sometimes I'll get really hammy on stage, but it takes the right show and the right stage.
Yeah. Well, I think what I love about playing with guys like Jesse and Clint, they're very gregarious, and you know they're passionate about their stuff, and they're outgoing, extroverted individuals, and they can do all the talking, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool that I can just kind of slide back in the background, and they take that pressure off, I guess.
Dude, the funniest part about that is I played Downtown Country Jam with Jesse. We start playing our set, maybe 1,000 people are there. We're done, maybe like 2,500 people are like there getting ready to like see the next band and then the headliner.
Yeah.
You know, we're warming everybody up or whatever. It's packed. Anyways, we get done, we pack all our stuff up, we put it away, we go over to the merch tent, and we're all standing behind the merch tent and stuff like that. And everyone's just like, oh my gosh, it's Jesse. Like people are just walking up, like people he doesn't know or whatever, because it's just kind of how it goes. Random people that travel from out. They're like, that guy was just on stage. Let's go talk to him.
And he's a man's man, you know. He just probably like glad handing everybody. And
oh yeah, it's awesome.
Know, oh, you want a hat? You want merch? You want it? I'll sign your shirt. You know, Jesse's completely that
dude. And he will. Yeah, he'll do it if people want it. Yeah, why not? And I mean, I will too. Ask me too. I'll do it. But it's so funny. We're all kind of just standing there adjacent to the merch table, and Jesse was just like, "This guy played drums," and just points at Cole. You know, Cole. And,
he was turning the attention off of him.
He was just kind of like, hey, this guy's cool too, you know, don't forget about this guy.
Yeah, so share the spotlight. That's good.
But then like me and the bassist Jake were just standing there like, all right, we're just gonna kind of duck off over here on the side because nobody knows who we are. I don't know why it's funny to me, but yeah, I totally get that. Having those people out there that are social is really nice, you know. And like another good thing, like I think about having Jesse there is he's like, I don't want to say like oddly good, but he's good at diffusing like negativity when it comes up, you know. Like it's not like it comes up a lot, but every now and then like something will happen in the crowd where somebody yells at somebody and he's just like, oh hey, tone it down a little bit over there, you know, or like whatever.
Yeah,
he does it in like a amicable way, you know. And it's you know, whatever, you play 150 shows a year or whatever he does. I don't know how many he does, but yeah
he's very poised on the microphone.
Yeah, he's super good at it, you know. And that's nice to have those people around because I
always try to link up with somebody because I know if I find a fellow quiet introvert, you know, that's not nobody wants that. You need the yin and the yang.
That is true. Yeah. And I mean, I'm I don't know. It's weird because I feel like I'm very outspoken, but at the same time, when I'm around people like that, I'm just like, I'm not these people. I'll just be quiet, you know. I just watch, you know. So it kind of depends on the atmosphere, but yeah, it's fun having those people around. You're right. I wonder what, you know, like it's so tough to like label myself, I guess. I don't know. Call in if you know what I am. Let me know what you think about it.
What would you label yourself as?
Yeah.
I don't think you're shy. I think you're
No.
reserved.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, man, one sentence, you're just like, boom. Like, that sounds so good. I'm slightly reserved, but also.
But you're not afraid to speak, or
Yeah.
I think you would diffuse a situation. Have you ever broken up a fight at a show?
No.
What about as a spectator? No?
Nope. I'm not. I'm just gonna be like, basically just like knock it off and go outside. You know, like,
There's just moshing.
yeah, they're moshing. That's what they're doing. Oh, I love it. All right, so somewhere in here, we're at the point where you're like mushing your violin and guitar playing into something that is turning you into the modern musician that we know today, right?
Yeah. So that came, I guess, in college. I went to the University of Northern Iowa.
Cool.
And
What was your major?
electronic media. So I was involved in radio broadcasting. They have a college radio station there, KULT.
Yeah.
And like I talked about earlier, my passion being, or one of my passions, or how I actually discovered all this music in the first place, was through the medium of radio. And I would hear these DJs pop in every, 3 or 4 songs and say, that was, Comfortably Numb, I'm Clutch.
Yeah.
It's 89 degrees outside, whatever. And I thought to myself, wow, that's somebody's job. I want to do that,
Yeah.
Why not?
Dude, when I was younger, that's dream job.
Absolutely. So I started studying that. Not a lot to study, really, but
Have you ever seen WKRP in Cincinnati?
is that a television show?
Yeah. It's a television show about a radio station.
Is that news radio? No, that's news.
News radio is a different show.
It's a different show.
That show's amazing.
I've seen news radio. I haven't. Is this the one with? No, that's
Do like a Thanksgiving Day turkey drop.
Mary Tyler Moore was like
Okay.
TV. What was she?
Different show.
Yeah, different show.
Yeah. But that was,
I've not seen it. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be worth checking out. I don't know. It's kind of funny. It's 70s TV, so you just kind of have to shift gears to that mode.
No, I love that decade.
Yeah.
It's the one after that was kind of cheesy.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. There was, yeah. 80.
No, I'll check that out.
Yeah. Anyways.
For sure.
But yeah. So you're going to be a radio DJ.
Yeah, and that's what ultimately I became involved in radio. I worked in radio for a decade. I was only actually a DJ for the first year of that, and found that I'd rather be in the background once again. Or I was slowly beginning to learn that I don't mind being second fiddle.
Haha. But
And
you got that? You got that?
my time at UNI was just learning how to sing, play guitar at the same time. That's when I bought my first guitar pedal. It was a looper.
Oh, that's the best first pedal anyone could ever buy. I'm so mad. Obviously, get a distortion pedal here, but whatever. Yeah.
I didn't have an electric at the time.
Oh,
just
okay.
just an electric violin, but I was playing acoustic guitar and acoustic electric, and I got a loop pedal so I could fuse my two instruments, or my two main instruments, together.
Oh, cool.
Like I was seeing a lot of loop artists starting to do around that time. And that's when I started kind of building the foundation for my solo act. And one of the first places I played when I was still in college was Rails Bar and Grill, when it was under different ownership here in Eagle Grove.
Mm-hmm.
And, when a quarter or a half of the crowd knows you, it's a lot. It can either be more or less stressful.
Yeah.
But for me, it was all a blur. Like I just got up there and just did what I've been practicing so much, and got invited back, and around that time graduated and was looking for a job. First job that I got out of college was in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And I was working for a country station up there.
Okay.
And doing the graveyard, like 12 to 6 on air shift. So a lot of, farm markets, stuff like that, or weather in my, when I would pop in on air, that's what I was primarily talking about.
Okay.
They didn't like me going off script too much. They had little liners that I could read and whatnot. And yeah, from there, where are we at?
Dude, I'm just thinking about like working, you said midnight to 6.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, it'd be fun, but like, it's like, who's out there listening right now? It's like, somebody get at me, send me a coffee.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't get that many calls, and I found a musician on Craigslist up there.
Oh, cool.
Got involved in an acoustic duo.
Where was this radio station?
This was Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. What made you decide to go all the way up there? Just
the first people that accepted me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all it takes, folks.
It's kind of, I was told by my professors, you kind of have to be willing to move.
Yeah.
If you're in that industry, television or radio, you kind of, a lot of people will take the first TV job in maybe Montana or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you grind it out for a couple of years, and then you move to a different market, hopefully bigger, better, or, or
Closer
wherever
to
you
where
want to live.
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I was not really picky. I love Iowa. I do, but I wanted to put some distance, I think, maybe between me and my family.
Yeah. That makes
which
sense.
at that age, I think a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I get it. Like,
for me, I did. And
no, I mean, I was the same way. I didn't do it though. So that's one of those things where it's like, I kind of wish I would have done it, but I didn't do it.
Right.
So, but I think you're right. Like, everyone has a little bit of that. It's like leftover teenage angst or something, or it's the like.
I think I still have teenage angst.
Or it's
in
the
my
like.
30s. I don't know.
You're just like, I got to get out of this place. Like, I don't know.
Well, I came back
Or
eventually.
is that just anxiety? I don't know. I can't tell. Like,
so I was playing with this. He played guitar, keys, and sang, and he booked us all over that area of western Wisconsin. I think we might have played a few Minnesota shows. I'm not sure, but
cool.
At the time, I was in a long distance relationship with a girl that I met at UNI.
Mm-hmm.
And we met, and she was an international student. She was only there for a semester, and she left after the first semester. I stayed, graduated, moved to Wisconsin. And so she was from Denmark, and in Denmark they have free education. Mm-hmm. But you have to choose if you're going to college or going to grad school. You have to select schools within their list of pre-approved schools. So she chose for her grad degree to go to a school in San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, kind of thinking, hey, I'm going to be closer to my boyfriend, still 2,000 miles away. U.S. is a big country.
Yeah.
But she did take that leap, and as soon as she moved, I was kind of setting up my plans to live in LA. Never been before, never thought of California as a place I might live. Mm-hmm. Didn't have a job lined up necessarily. But in the meantime, Mom got diagnosed with acute leukemia. So I stuck around in the Midwest, and unfortunately, within a year, her condition declined. She passed away, and right after the funeral, moved to California.
Okay.
I met my landlord on Craigslist. I met my bandmates on Craigslist. That used to be for me kind of. I think Craigslist was a lot safer 10 years ago. I don't know.
It used to be very useful, honestly.
I haven't been on in a while, but
I mean, it's still there, but it's like, man, I don't know. It's not what it used to be. Facebook Marketplace basically destroyed it. But like, Craigslist had more than just marketplace type material.
Mm-hmm.
There was also some weird stuff on there, but yeah, it's
I don't know. I always used it for the musicians and just looking for gigs,
Yeah.
looking for, 1 in 10 might be somewhat reliable. So
yeah.
I found some musicians to jam with. I was still kind of going through it with the death of my mom and all. Like I wasn't really processing that at the time, and my girlfriend at the time, we're obviously not still together, graduated, didn't want to stay in the States. I didn't want to move to Denmark. I visited once, and they have 3 or 4 weeks of sunshine. It wasn't. It's kind of bleak.
Yeah, believe it or not, I've been there.
Really?
Yeah.
What part?
Copenhagen.
Okay. So she's from the very north tip. I think Frederikshavn was the name of the town. I've never been to Copenhagen, but it's not a bad place, but I felt like I was in radio, and I think if you're going to be on the radio in Denmark, you probably have to speak fluent Danish.
Yeah, it might help.
And I knew about 20 words at that time, so it wasn't.
Yeah, there's not like a big expat community willing to have a English radio station there or anything.
No. So they do speak very, very good English.
They do, honestly.
But she moved back. We separated, and I kind of looked around me where I was. I said to myself, I'm in Los Angeles. And I started to explore the city. And
yeah.
And
Dude, that's wild because it's like something ended, but you're still just like, I'm still in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like
and then after that, so I had been working for my landlord. He was a contractor, and I was just basically exchanging work for free rent. And up to that point, had not found another radio job. But shortly after I broke up with my ex, I found the radio job. Got out of the band I was in. Kept writing music like through this whole period, starting at my time at UNI. I'd been writing songs. So I'm always playing in my bedroom, no matter if I'm in a band or not, or playing out or not.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't.
What made you start writing your own music?
I think maybe another breakup.
Oh my gosh. Well, the first song I wrote was about partying.
I wrote, I think my first song might've been about Eagle Grove. You know how every pop punk band has, we're leaving this town. They have that song somewhere. I think I had one like that about Eagle Grove.
Oh gosh.
But I'm glad that none of that stuff is recorded. I mean, I still have the lyrics and I've got it all in documents and stuff, but I talk about looking back on something and cringing. That was, your first songs are never.
No, I don't know.
Unless you're Mozart. I don't know.
I don't know. If you figure out the formula, there's some young prodigies at everything.
For sure. But for me, it was not. Songwriting was something I had to work at, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I will have to say I've tried to write music and I cannot complete a good idea. Like if I have one good idea, it's just that's the idea and it never gets any bigger, and it can't get any bigger. Like I try to work
like
on
one melody or one.
Yeah, like I think this little thing sounds good, or this lump of chords sounds good, or like this odd progression sounds good. And then it's just like, that's it.
Well, if you get enough of those, I mean, I have some Frankenstein songs that are just, bits that, okay, I wrote this the first of the month, and this was the 15th of the month, and I wrote this at the end of the month. And they kind of oddly fit together if you find a way. But,
yeah, if you find a way.
And then, turn those little bits into a whole song.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just y'all make it sound so easy. I feel like I remember talking to Jeremy Ober, like one of the very first episodes, like about that, and I was just like, I don't know how I can't crack the code, and he's like, just mush it all together, and it's like,
he said it too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like
I don't know.
Like, there's got to be a way to just mush everything together somehow, or change it so it fits, and then put it in there.
You can't. For me, you can't have a outside distraction, or it's got to be either come in one sitting, or I have the other approach where I do the Frankenstein thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just comes out sometimes.
It is like when you have that weird bit of inspiration, it's just like this thing, like it just has to come out like right now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like even when I tried to write music, it was just like, some of this sounds good. And I do have stuff that's like recorded, but not much that I actually sat down and like recorded. But
I kind of some people will sit down, write every day and say, you know, there's got to be, you know, 1 out of 100 has to be good. I just kind of wait for that feeling that you're talking about, inspiration, muse, whatever. And sometimes it comes once a year. Sometimes it'll come 5 times in a week, you know, and it's like, I just am at its mercy.
So being I don't say shy, but being someone that's more reserved and kind of, you know, less outspoken than myself, maybe, or from what I know you, like, how do you like end up being like, I'm going to write music and then sing it and stand in front of people and do stuff, you know, like, and
I don't know. I go, or was your question?
No, keep going.
Oh, I was propped in front of people in the church, I think. And also my mom, she was a huge inspiration. And I know that even though this isn't her kind of music, that she'd be happy I'm still playing today. So
yeah,
that's something that definitely drives me. And I always feel better when I do it. Every time I turn my back, I don't turn my back on music, but when the pandemic happened, I was living in California still, and I was thinking about all the times that I should have been on stage. You know, I thought, well, if this thing ever ends, or whenever it ends, I'm going to be playing as much as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. And right when live music came back, I was looking for somebody to be in a band with. You know, I just walked up to a guy after one of his shows, and I said, "You sound an incredible, man. Have you ever played with a fiddle player before?" And he said, "No. Do you know one?" And I said, "Yeah, me." And then we were playing together the next, 2 days from that point. So
that's still in California, or is that out here?
That was in California.
All right.
That's kind of how it went with Clint as well. I met him at the Barnum Jam.
Yep.
And
how'd you find out about the Barnum Jam?
Oh, so do you know Tambourine Steve?
I do know who Tambourine Steve is.
So his name's Steven Sawyer.
Yep.
And he actually went to the same church as I did growing up.
Oh, cool.
And he works at Rails now. So when I came back, I went in Rails one day, grabbed some food or something. I saw him working in the back, and we chatted it up. And he said that he and Ed Pamperin, who owns Rails, had been going to the Barnum Jams, and they were talking about this mysterious dirty hippie.
That's folk,
who was
dirty
kind of
folk musician guy.
Dirty folk musician who was the ringleader of the whole shebang. So
the ringleader, I love it. It's pretty much what it is.
I popped in, and I know that people, not everybody plays violin, fiddle, so I thought, I can just show up and hopefully they'll accept. I didn't know what the vibe was going to be, how open everybody was going to be, or inviting. I kind of thought it might be a bunch of stuck-up musicians. I've had experience with that.
Dude, that's where I get why some people don't go to jam nights, because it's like, put your name on the list and we'll bring you up, and then it's just like they bring you up and it's just like, we're playing Mustang Sally, and it's like, or like what, we're playing or whatever, and then you get your one song and then get out of here, whatever. But
it wasn't that at all. It
not
was
even close.
Free form. It was come as you are, very accepting to everybody.
Play if you want to, kind of deal.
And like you said, I'm not the most outspoken guy, but talking to Clint, he kind of has a way of, he can talk to anybody.
Yeah. Easy to talk to, mesmerizing.
And
it's so damn charming.
I was playing with him at Bootleggers 2 days from from that point. I don't know if you were at that initial jam. I think you were. But you were for sure at the Bootleggers gig. And I remember we were playing outside, and that's where I met you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. That's fun. Man, that's like, again, the Barnum Jam, which, again, is no longer a thing, or at least as of the recording is no longer a thing. But, like, that was something that was, like, mega special. It brought a lot of people together. It made a lot of people take note of other people, you know, and it gave a lot of people the ability to go out there and, like you said, it's almost lawless and, like, rule-less there. Like, it's like you want to sing a song,
yeah, very informal.
Just kind of wait until somebody looks like they're done and then just go up and ask if you can play next, and they'll be like, yeah, that guy's playing, and then you're up, and then it's like, okay, cool. It's just very,
I thought to myself, you know, what have I walked into here in Fort Dodge? You know, all these, you know, not everybody's from Fort Dodge, but I guess the general area has so much talent.
yeah, that's coming from somebody that, like, didn't listen to the podcast at all, so knows, like, from firsthand, just, like, going to the jams, like, geez, look at this.
I listened after you invited me.
Yeah.
I listened to Jeremy episode, Jesse episode, Clint episode. And
Nice.
Yeah.
Those are three.
See what I'm getting
podcasts.
into here.
You got to figure out what it is, you know. And it's a pretty easy one. It's just a nice little common blather about, you know, who you are and how your music kind of came about, you know, because this is the first one you've ever done. So a lot of them, it's like, if you listen to the very first episode I did with somebody, it's a lot of just like,
Oh, you do multiple?
yeah, I've done Clint maybe like,
Oh.
he's been on here like 5 or 6 times, 7 times maybe.
Has anybody interviewed you?
No, no, you and Scott are like the only people that have ever asked me that question. Scott Kirkhart.
Okay.
Yeah. No, nobody's ever interviewed me. I've been on other people's podcasts and been interviewed.
So how'd you get started playing?
And how did I get started playing? I went to church and a guy played there, and that's the only place I knew where to learn, because like, my sister's boyfriend played guitar and I thought it looked cool, so that was it. He had a black Les Paul, so I bought a white Les Paul.
You thought you guys were gonna like be back to back?
I don't know. I don't know.
Shredding in the basement.
It'd be hilarious. No, I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun.
No, it's whatever inspires you, you know.
Yeah.
However you get started.
That's actually a true story, by the way. I wasn't just goofing around when he asked me the question, but that's literally like the basis of how I got started playing. And then a couple kids in school had instruments, and it's like, let's play. We got a band. All right, we're cool.
Yeah. I think there were some kids in Eagle Grove that were in bands. I wasn't in the actual band, and those kids were, you know, playing guitar or bass or in the pep band or drums in the pep band. And they kind of had their own. I was kind of just, how do I fit into all this? Kind of wondering in the background. And
that's like so unfortunate that, like, now it seems so obvious to you. You just put it in there and do it, kind of deal.
Yeah.
But like, then you're just like, and some of it is also like, people don't understand, like, you're close enough to my age where you saw a lot of stuff get like really weird in your life and change really fast, where it's like there's no internet, and then all of a sudden everyone has a computer and there's internet, and then like Google actually works really well. That was like, you know, 10 years after the internet was a thing, and so you got to see all the patterns of stuff, and that was a time when,
for me, it was just all about discovery and just going down these rabbit holes of music and reading about albums or what influenced my favorite musicians. YouTube, you know, I found so many incredible musicians on there.
YouTube's crazy.
Yeah, I love YouTube.
This is going
to
be on
this
YouTube.
day.
Yes. You hear that, YouTube? We love you.
Please monetize.
Yes. Click subscribe. Oh man. So we're at this point now where you move back. Tambourine Steve says, let's go to the jam.
Right.
So you go to the jam with Steve and Ed. Did Ed go with
Ed didn't go. No.
Oh, come on, Ed. But yeah, so you guys go over there, you meet Clint, you're 2 days later playing shows with him, and that's like basically how it happened.
Yeah.
And you're still playing shows with him. How many years have you been playing shows with him now? About a year or two?
Just a year. I've only been back a year and a half. No. When did I move back? September of last year.
So just over a year.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so you've been back a year and playing music with him for just a little less than that.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then, you know, Jesse had this thing where it's like, let's do a band, let's do a duo, let's add some people. Here we go. We have a band. Some people changed this, that, and the other. And he's just like, he's always one that's just like not really scared to bring somebody else with him. Like he would do duo shows with a bassist, you know, or like he brought like Dave Schmieder with him, you know, on a duo show, which would be cool, you know. Or you know, he's always adding people in and doing something different, and that was kind of like reaching out to you. It's like, hey, sure could use a fiddle player, like, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, every time I've heard him sing or get on the mic, I've been a fan of his originals, his covers. And yeah, he's just an authentic dude.
Yeah,
fun to play with.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit more of a rockish.
And I like a variety of music.
Yeah.
I listen to everything, you know, except for the band Rush, or you know.
I like Rush. Come on.
Or musicals. I don't like musicals that much, but
I'm very selective. They feel kind of feel campy sometimes, and I get that that's the point, but I don't know. It's kind of like horror movie fans. Like there's some that are really bad, but those are the ones that the true diehards just love the most.
The classics though are obviously good.
Yeah,
Sonic music or something like that. But
oh yeah, for sure. I grew up on Disney stuff, so I get it, you know. But yeah, so that's crazy. So that's basically like this. As wild as it is, we're almost an hour in exactly. So like,
oh darn.
Yeah, I still want to touch on this though. So we're gonna go just a tiny bit longer, and
we had to unplug the XLR. So.
Yes, we're gonna go just a tiny bit longer here. So here's where we're at. You're here. You're playing shows. What people might not know is you do play solo shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've been booked here in Eagle Grove, Fort Dodge, and maybe a couple other little towns here smattering around the area, right?
Yeah, I've played in Pocahontas, Badger, Webster City. Yeah, those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah. But I've played. I love to play solo too. It's a different. I'm picking the set list. You know, these are all songs that are inspirational to me. And
okay, yeah.
It has to be. You know, otherwise I can't sing it. I can't sing it with heart or conviction or.
True. It just doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah. And it's a lot more laid back than a Jesse Wilson show for sure when I'm doing that. But I bring my loop pedal along, and a lot of times, not for every song, but I'll lay down a chord progression and solo over that, sing over that, and get as close to a full band sound as I can with one person. Mm-hmm. But
that's cool.
I enjoy doing that a lot.
Yeah.
I've got 2 next month in Webster City, and I'm back at Sneakers. I can get the dates for your description, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, so next month is November?
Yes.
Okay, 2 in November. You got a Facebook page and stuff?
I do. It's Taylor Smith.
Yeah.
Just like, you know.
Yeah.
Just like my name.
Yes.
Not Taylor Swift.
No, Taylor Smith.
I've used different. I used Mr. Smith or Royalty because I was sick of I'd use my middle name Wesley Smith, but I thought, why not? I don't.
Dude, it's always middle name and then turn your first name into a last name.
Wesley Taylor. Well, I might be under a different name by the time you search me. But
no, we'll get a link down in the description and make sure some people are on there for sure. Any other social media you have for like that people can find your shows at or anything?
I'm on Instagram at Royal T Smith. So ROYALTSMITH.
Cool.
So royalty is just Taylor scrambled.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That's smart. Oh, yeah. What do they call that? An anagram?
An anagram, yeah. You write your name down enough times in class, and you're like, oh, what if I put this here?
Yeah. Then I can make Treep out of my name. I don't know. I got nothing.
We'll think of it.
Yeah. All right. Look at this guy go. No, that's awesome. I'll have links down below in the description so people can find you. I say go check out a solo show. I know you've played with Jesse before and done a couple songs live. Sometimes he'll be like, Taylor, you want to sing this one?
Well, he broke a guitar string. I think it was in Lehigh. Not Lehigh. I forget the town, but maybe Pomeroy. And Clint grabbed your guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you offered it to me.
Yeah.
I didn't grab it from you.
Yeah.
You know. Give me that thing, Pete.
Give me that guitar.
I'm taking the stage now.
Nobody, I mean, that's one of those things, like something happens, live music, you gotta do something. It's like, well, Taylor's better at singing and playing guitar than I am, or like in general, because you just do it more and you're better at it. So yes, you're better. But like, I would rather watch you play than watch me play, I guess. So it's just like, we need a guitar. I have one. Here you go. This guy can sing. Taylor, get up there. Here we go. And away we go.
Yeah, I love doing it. I love anything music related. That's just it's my life. I need to I think join 3 or 4 more bands. Fill up my week.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If anybody
How many are you in?
If you count Clint, 3. Because I've only played like maybe 5 or 6 shows with Clint this year.
Okay.
Because you got, again, I think it sounds better with a fiddle, and
at Belmont, it sounded fantastic to me.
It was great. The only thing,
I liked your clean tone when your amp kind of went out.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that was weird. It was my amp had this thing where like the power didn't work for some reason on it. It just low powered out, and then it came back for a second, and then it was just all spanky and cool sounding. So yeah, I don't know. It's nice. It's nice. So yeah, it's cool. I'm glad I met you playing music, and again, super talented. Plays by ear. If it's one of those deals where like, I remember we were playing, what was the song? It was Seminole Wind or something like that. And it was just like, can you play the thing for Seminole Wind? You're like, I don't know if I've like, I think like me, I haven't really listened to too many new country songs that like,
right.
I never listen to any. So when somebody's like, this, have you heard this song? It's like, well, is that a new one? It's like, that's 20, 40 years old. I'm like, okay.
That's why.
But yeah, like Dave Schmieder like holds a phone like near your face, was like, it sounds like this, and you were just like, oh, okay. And then you like, start playing something, and it's like 90% correct with your own little flavor thrown in there. I was like, that's cool as hell. How do you?
That's really helpful, when I can listen to it.
Yeah.
If I listen to a song a bunch, I can just kind of commit it to memory. But
yeah, and that's where it comes in if we play like what is another one, like Sweet Child of Mine. Like every now and then you'll just be like, oh, here's this riff, and just like
it slowly comes back to you, because my memory is foggy, but that kind of stuff is ingrained.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere.
I love it. All right. Well, that's about it. Anything else you want to say before we go? I don't know. I'm pretty sure we covered a lot and more than anything, but
yeah, I haven't talked this much in months.
Thanks
for having me on your podcast, Audible Farm.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Go check them out online. Make sure you hit subscribe, follow, the whole 9 yards. You got to go see them live. I want to see you dinking around with this looper live and see what it's all about. So I'm intrigued. You should be too. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Whoa, there you go. There's the episode. Taylor Smith, everybody. You gotta love him. He's such a fun guy. He's so easy to get along with. He's as talented as he is tall. No, I'm just kidding. He is a tall guy. It's fun when people comment about it. There was one time somebody said that he was the small guy in the band, and I was like, small guy? He's taller than everybody. What are you talking about? But I don't know. It's just fun to play shows with him. He's just so talented. He's so fun to get to know in this episode. He made it real easy to kind of just get to know him and talk with him about things. I know that he does, some sort of production work in some senses, kind of like this. We talked a little bit about it, before or after the episode. And he goofed off and told me to just fix some of the audio stuff in post. And I did a little bit of editing in this episode because, I brought with modest equipment that definitely had some issues this go around. I don't think I've had an episode that I've recorded so far that hasn't had some sort of like weird technical issue where I had to overcome it. So this is, I think this is just karma catching up with me and saying like, hey, this is what you get for not doing the podcast for so long. But yeah, check out Taylor's links down below. Go see a live show. Definitely go see a live show. Dude's so talented, so fun to hang out with, easy to get along with. Definitely glad I met him on my musical journey, and I'm glad he came back to the area, and hopefully he sticks around for a while before he ducks out to go on his next adventure, because that guy it seems like he loves going on adventures. So yeah, I'm sure I'll have to have him back on here again to talk more about other stuff that he's been up to. And thank you, Taylor, for being one of the first people to come on the podcast that has never been on the podcast before. He's somebody that was like quote unquote new to the scene, even though he's played music for a while. So thank you, Taylor, for coming on the podcast and enjoying this. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Once again, go check out all of Taylor's links down below. Thanks to the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Audible Farm on Patreon. You can get the episodes a day early. Video versions of the podcast are on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, like, share. Just tell somebody about the podcast. Just tell somebody, hey, it's back. Did you know it's back? Go listen. Check it out. It's back. Send them the link. Say, hey, thank you very much. This podcast is a fun one. You might like it. Go check it out. I appreciate all you guys. There's been a huge influx of people liking and sharing things lately. So I hear you. You're happy it's back. I got a lot of people messaging me, contacting me about being on the podcast. I'm trying to get everything organized and get it all going the best I can and still maintain some sort of free time. Fingers crossed. Okay, so anywho, audiblefarm.com if you want to find anything. Otherwise, the links are probably in the description of the podcast for anything you would ever need Audible Farm. But thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Peace.